I went upstairs, had lunch, ate my lunch, put my head down on the kitchen table, slept for 15 minutes, then came down here to record with you, Rob.
Perfect.
It's what we call
Nice
the
little
mini
nap.
power nap. Jennifer told me I was snoring.
I mean, it doesn't. So you were just a head on the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
That.
Yes.
I mean, that's not going to be good for you.
It's pretty sad, but it's the glamorous life I lead. So
Yeah.
we should talk about Prime Video for Apple TV because it actually
here.
came out the day we record.
It's finally here.
It's finally here, and you know what? It's ugly as sin.
It's ugly. It doesn't behave like a normal Apple TV app. Like the swiping doesn't. Oh god, it's terrible. But I'm not going to complain too much because I'm just happy that it's on the TV.
Yeah, I complained about it on Twitter a little bit, and somebody said, well, it's like that on all the other platforms. I'm like, yeah, well, yes, I agree with you. I wasn't expecting much, but it does kind of stick out like a sore thumb. Not that all Apple TV apps are beautiful, but this one is definitely in like the bottom 10% of well-designed.
Yeah, it is frustrating because the swiping just like across the horizontal list just doesn't. I don't know what it is, but that it doesn't. You can't kind of swipe and it just carry on a little bit like it does in the rest of the.
Yeah,
Apple TV.
they're doing something custom. It's not like the normal animations that you would get if you use like the stock UI widgets and stuff. Because you're right, it has this kind of more. It's more of a smooth scrolling, so you don't have that kind of physics that you do on a regular Apple TV app, and the thumbnails are smaller than the standard thumbnails on Apple TV. So everything looks cramped and crowded on the screen, I think. I mean, it's functional. It's functional because there's more on the screen, but it's too much. There's a lot going on when you look at it.
Yeah. Why is it a separate app? Why do I now have 2 Amazon videos on my phone?
Yeah, that's a good question. That I have to go look and see on my phone because I saw you tweet about that, and I had not noticed that this morning, but I was focused more on the Apple TV app and not on iOS. And I don't think I got that because I'm looking. Let's see.
Yeah, it was very confusing because you sent me the link, right as it kind of went live.
Right.
And I clicked on the link and it opened the App Store, and it said get or whatever it says for a free app.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's strange because I definitely have the video app installed on my phone because, I use it to search, see what's available and stuff like that. And then I downloaded that, and now I have 2 Amazon Video apps, and I have no idea which one's which because they both have the same icon.
Could one possibly be, well, it doesn't make sense that one would be from the UK store and one would be from the US store, does it?
I don't think so, no, because I
don't
don't
think it
have
works
like a
that way.
separate... No, and I don't have like a separate account or anything like that. It's very strange. I don't know what's going on.
It's a glitch, I think. I don't have. I just have one app on my phone, and so this morning, right, that I had an inkling this was going to happen because I marked the 6-month anniversary of the announcement yesterday. Thanks to your web app, I know exactly how long it's been, and so I marked that with a tweet yesterday morning. And Casey List responded to me with what I thought was a really good point, which was the Grand Tour is about to start, so it makes sense that we'd see that app come in a day or so. And then a Mac Stories reader contacted me because they were in, I think, Israel, and sometimes, I know this is a thing that Federico sometimes can pick up on, he can see what's being promoted on the U.S. App Store before it's visible in the U.S.
Right.
And so he knew that the Amazon Prime app was already being promoted on the App Store yesterday morning. And so those two things together, we kind of figured it was coming today. But when it came, the Apple TV, I have not used the one in my basement in a while. And it needed updating, which is how I discovered that this app requires 11.1 or later. And so I was doing that. And then when I went to the App Store section of the app and I went to purchased, because I already had it on my phone and it should just be in there, all I got was a spinner for hours. And so I had to wait until I could find it on search. And it took a very long time and a couple of reboots to get it to actually show on search and I could download it. Such was my morning. And then, to take screenshots from an Apple TV, you have to hook up your Apple TV with a USB-C cable and open Xcode. And thank goodness I had the beta of Xcode that worked with 11.2.
Well, don't buy a 4K because that doesn't have the USB port. So I assume you just can't take screenshots.
Oh wow. You might. I wonder if you can do wireless because there are wireless. That's a good question.
Yeah, there is wireless deployments in Xcode, but yeah, I don't know. But the new one, we were looking at comparison today for somebody else, and yeah, the 4K doesn't have the USB-C port on the back of it.
Yeah, I had forgotten that. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm gonna have to at least hold on to one of my 4th generation Apple TVs for as long as it lasts, then, because that's the only. It's a little bit of a hassle, but it's not too bad. You just open up the I forget what it is. It's the simulators and devices window that you get to in Xcode, and then it used to be. It doesn't seem to do this anymore, but it used to log to the console constantly. Like you would have it open, and every single movement would write something to the console. So there's this enormous long string of text going as you're navigating the UI, and then there was just a button that you would click, and it would take a screenshot and dump it onto your desktop, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, well,
so it's here.
Anyway,
it's here.
We can get Amazon Video. Actually, that's another thing. Is the service called Amazon Video? Is it called Prime Video? Is it called Amazon Prime Video? Because the app is called Amazon Video, but the logo and the icons say Prime Video. So I don't know what the service is called.
Well, I have gone with Amazon Prime Video when I've been writing about it, I guess. And the thing is, though, that it's not entirely correct because not everything in the video app is Prime, because there's still stuff you can rent or buy, right? That you have to pay for regardless of whether you have Prime.
Yeah. It's very confusing, but
well, it's Amazon, right? I mean,
yeah.
I was setting up my Christmas lights with the Amazon Echo yesterday, and that process is terrible. That Alexa app is the worst. It's a bunch of really confusing, poorly laid out web views that you have to navigate.
Yeah.
You got to get the skill, and then you got to go into the home automation thing. Then you have to detect the devices. Then you got to create a group. Then you got it's a little bit of a hassle. Once you get it set up, it works really well, and you can kind of stay out of it because you can just use your Echo or your Dot or whatever it is and say, person in the can, turn on the Christmas lights.
Yeah, the app was causing me hassle as well, and on I guess just before Black Friday, because Black Friday has now just become like a 2-week period.
Yes, and it's worldwide, even though you don't have Thanksgiving anywhere except in America, right?
Yeah, and I even got an email that said it was Cyber Monday week.
Oh, really?
This is like a 3-week thing now.
Monday is not a week.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I picked up 2 new Echoes, the little mid-size Echoes, probably about a week before Black Friday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were retailer in the UK. We're doing like 3 for £150, so they were like £50 each. And I sold one, or a guy at work gave me £50 for one of them, so I just had 2 of them.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, the Alexa app is really, really bad, especially when you're setting up multiple Echoes, and like I wanted to make sure that drop-in was turned off, but only on for inside the house and not for outside calls.
Huh.
So yeah, that was kind of causing me all sorts of problems.
Yeah, I've been kind of diving into the Echo a little more than I had in the past. I had a Dot for a long time, and that's still upstairs. And now I've got an Echo Plus because it has all the home automation stuff. But I haven't done much with it yet. And it's funny. I was listening to music on it at my desk the other day, and when I did it, it's like, oh, this doesn't sound very good. And I have this pair of really cheap speakers that I got on Amazon for like $18, and that are hooked up to a little amplifier that I got for another $18, and use a 3.5 millimeter jack into my MacBook Pro, and the sound is fantastic compared to the Amazon Echo. So that's a little disappointing. But plus there's the whole splintering of music services, right? I mean, I have Apple Music, and so I'm pretty much stuck in terms of where I can play that. I can listen to Spotify the free version, I guess, but I can't really do any of the fancy stuff because I don't pay. And Amazon Music, the free version is pretty awful. So I don't know. Still trying to figure out music, really, is what it comes down to, I guess. And was actually tempted. This is what leads you down the path of my good friend Mr. Vitici and his paying for two services. But I'm been resisting because that seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned that a couple of times, but like, you know, even Spotify, which is almost everywhere, isn't on the Apple TV. So, you know, even if you pick Spotify as this is the only service I'm using, if you've got an Apple TV, your only option is to AirPlay it.
Yeah, music is one of
music. You can't play it, you know, on the Echo and stuff like that. And then, of course, if you pick Amazon Music, that's basically only on the Echoes. Like, it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, music is one of the worst things, I think, in terms of walled gardens when it comes to home assistant type products. You really are. I think at the end of the day, if you're a music fan, that's going to drive your decision about which of these you really rely on the most, more than anything, probably.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, you know, if you were on Apple Music and you went with the HomePod, that's kind of fine, but they're too expensive to, for example, do what I've done with Echoes now, where I've got the kitchen big boy one downstairs, and I've got, you know, two of the mid-size ones in upstairs, and then I've got the Dot up in the attic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that would be a lot of money if I did that with HomePods.
Yeah, it would be pretty nuts. I've actually got sitting under my desk, uninstalled, are two brand new Ecobee thermostats with Alexa support.
Oh, very fancy.
Yeah, very fancy. I have, since I bought them. Oh, shoot. Sorry.
You shouldn't have said the trigger word.
I've totally forgot. All right, it's muted now. So since I bought them, I realized that they don't have, what do they call the feature where they can tell which one you're talking to by how close they are, the near field microphones.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't have that. And I have the Dot in my living room, and kind of just around the corner in the front room. The front room and living room of our house are kind of open to each other, but the thermostat's kind of just around a little mini wall. And I'm already realizing that when I install that, I'm going to have to do something to the Dot, because they're both going to answer me at this point.
Yeah, I kind of had this problem. Not because, like, I've got an Echo up at the top of the stairs now, and then the one in the kitchen. But because I was so used to only having one, I normally just come in the house and I'll shout at it to connect to my phone or play music or whatever. And I ended up connected to the one at the top of the stairs. But then when I shouted again to disconnect, it was connected to the one in the kitchen. And yeah, there was all a bit of a mess. So, you know, with the thermostat and the Dot, that's going to cause problems.
Yeah, so I got to figure out what to do. I mean, maybe I'll just, I don't know. Maybe I'll give the Dot to one of my kids or something. We'll see. I haven't installed the thermostats yet because I haven't had time. People listening may realize that I am getting deep into home automation. I have finally pulled the trigger, and yes, I am doing lots of projects and trying to hook things up. And last night I was a bit of a mad scientist, and my Christmas lights were blinking on and off in the front yard over and over as I tried different things between Siri and Alexa, the lady in the can, and other things.
Nice catch.
Yeah, it was close. It was a close one. So, all right. So you got two new Echoes. What else?
I bought a Fire tablet for £30.
I almost did that because there were $30 here, and it's pretty cheap for anything that's an electronic. That and the home, what is the Home Mini, the Google Home Mini? I almost got that. That was $30.
Yeah.
I read The Verge's review and took a pass, but Mike Hurley, he wasn't so lucky. He didn't read The Verge first. But what are you going to use the tablet for?
It's mostly for like when I'm cooking in the kitchen, and I want to, look something up, or, just while I'm waiting for something, go on Twitter or Facebook or something like that. And, I just don't want to get my phone greasy. It's like the most first world problem.
Yeah, no,
You know, but for £30, I thought, I'm sure this will be fine, and I'm sure if I don't use it for that, I can find another use for it somewhere else in the house.
right. No, I think that they're good for that kind of thing. How is it to use though? I mean, what's the UI like and all that kind of thing?
It's mostly, you know, like Android. It's got the kind of drawer of apps, and there's some custom UI on top of it. So it's like you're scrolling through your books and then your movies and your magazines and all this kind of stuff that Amazon offer. It's really slow. Like, it's not a very good tablet, or like it's pretty unresponsive. The battery is terrible.
Oh, really?
It will just sit there in standby, and it will be down like 30% overnight.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not good.
It's not great, but what can you do for £30?
It's really interesting to me what's going on with Google and Amazon right now, with Google yanking YouTube yet again from the Echo Show and from, it looks like, the Fire TV starting January 1st.
Yeah, the Fire TV is losing YouTube on the 1st. Yeah, it's they may not. I'm sure they're going to come to some kind of agreement, maybe. But it's, I mean, I tweeted this today, but that's pretty bad that just after Black Friday, when they've probably sold thousands of Fire TVs, that YouTube's going to be gone.
Yeah, well, if you're Google, that's exactly when you pull it, right? When people are the angriest. I think in this one, Google wins no matter what, because I think Amazon needs them more than Google needs Amazon in terms of both the market share of, you know, YouTube viewers coming off from Amazon products, but also the thing with Amazon is that, you know, they're not selling Chromecasts. What's the real harm to Amazon at the end of the day if they cave and sell Chromecasts? They make some more money. I mean,
yeah, it's very strange. I mean, I was reading today that Amazon also don't sell TVs that have Chromecast built in.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Like, I didn't realize it had got that petty, but yeah, there's I think there's a few Sony models of TVs that have a Chromecast system built in, and Amazon won't sell those models.
Yeah, Amazon has. Well, they've done it for a long. They kind of do it with Apple to some degree. On Amazon, you can buy a Mac and you can buy accessories, but that's about it. They haven't sold iPads or, you know, iPhones for a long time, or Apple TVs for that matter.
Yeah, it's all very strange, and I think, and ultimately, the only people that are losing here are the people that either have bought these products or are, you know, looking for a product, you know, some kind of TV box to fit whatever particular choices they've made in terms of music and streaming services and stuff like that. And I don't think anybody's really winning in this situation.
No, although, you know, I think the biggest loser again is probably Amazon, because people have a lot of choices about ways to get YouTube onto their television. You know, a lot of TVs have that built right in, and there are other kind of boxes that people might own, or tablets, or AirPlay, or you know, Chromecast, or whatever it is. There's lots of ways to get YouTube on your TV without an Amazon Fire TV.
Yeah, definitely. But,
so,
oh well,
you got the big boy battery too.
Oh yeah, this battery is a beast. This is the
you could bludgeon. You could really bludgeon somebody with that battery.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the one I think that you've got, and I know I think Mike and Federico have both got it as well.
Yeah, they do. I only held off until those two were using it on their trip to Chicago in October. I wanted to see how it held up, and it worked really well for them, and so I picked one up, and it's pretty impressive. I was in Chicago for the day last Wednesday, and I sat at a coffee shop, and instead of having to find an outlet, I just hooked up my MacBook Pro to the battery, and it charged it fully, and I had, you know, some charge to spare.
Yeah, I'd been keeping my eye on it, hoping that it was going to drop on Black Friday, and then I just happened to be searching for it, or I think maybe I was shown an advert for eBay, and somebody was selling one brand new for like half the price that they were on Amazon, and I thought, well, I'm going to go for it now because it's never going to be cheaper than that.
Yeah, it's fairly expensive. I think I got mine on a pre-Black Friday deal for like $90, but it's weird because the U.S. and U.K. stores on Amazon sell slightly different products, and in the U.S. they sell it with the charger, which the fast charger. So it's always a little more expensive here, but you also get the charger. Because I know I forget. I think maybe Mike got it for £60 or.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was. Yeah, so I mean, to be honest, the charger, like I've been charging it, I've only charged it once. I just charged it through my MacBook charger. That's a pretty hefty charger. It charged it up reasonably quickly.
Yeah, so but what it can do is, because it's got the power delivery mode for USB-C, you can charge, for instance, a Nintendo Switch while you play it, which most batteries can't handle. You can also power a MacBook Pro while you're using it. Those are both things that you really can't do with any other class of battery. And it is big. It's taller than a phone, than like a Plus phone, and probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 centimeters tall.
Yeah, it's a really, really big battery. But as you say, the fact that it does the Switch, it does the MacBook, you can charge like 2 or 3 phones from it all at once.
Right, and it's heavy. But but it's worth it. I mean, it does give you a certain amount of freedom. The other battery that I've had my eye on is, if you saw Federico's iPhone 10 review, he got a Mophie that has a key charger built into it, so he can literally just take his phone and drop it on the top of this battery, and it charges up slowly, but it still does. It's pretty cool. It's an expensive battery though. I think it sells here for $100, and it's not. Oh, wow. It's not got the same kind of capacity that the one that we were just talking about has by any stretch. I think it's like maybe 10,000 milliamperes or whatever the measurement is, but it's kind of handy. I mean, because you think you're traveling and you have a battery and you have your phone, and you can, instead of having to have that the snare of wires all around you and spilling out onto the table, you can just kind of drop your phone right on top of the battery and charge it up. And he does it just he's around his house. He just drops it on there when it's not using his phone, and it charges it up.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting batteries out there. I mean, for me, I bought this mostly for the Switch. The fact that it does the MacBook is kind of a bonus. But I mean, talking of cool things, and yours is probably a little bit more interesting than mine, but you finally managed to get some kind of classic Nintendo console. Oh,
I did. A very nice reader of Mac Stories, Nate Gorby, sent me his Super Nintendo Classic Mini that he had bought, and he bought it as a gift for someone, and they didn't need it or want it, and so I bought it from him. And I've got it sitting right here on top of my microphone amplifier, and it's hooked into my display that I use for my MacBook Pro when I'm recording and working down here. And so I've got a pretty nice setup. I mean, this is a new display. I have hooked up to it my MacBook Pro, my Mac Mini, which is going to come into play at some point in the future with some automation stuff. Right now, it's just sitting there idly. And this little Mini, which is a lot of fun. I can play video games. When I need a break from work, I just switch over to HDMI 1, and I've got the Super Nintendo.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the ugly American version, as we know. I mean, I have to admit that
I didn't want to bring it up, but
the one with the purple buttons and everything, which I get mocked for constantly because it's whatever. It's fine. I prefer the one that was released in Europe and Japan too, but this is the one that works here and is easy to get in the United States. So.
I'm just glad you managed to get one, because you didn't get an NES Classic, did you, in the end?
No, I never did. And not long ago, Dell was selling some of these, and they were gone within like 10 seconds. I mean, it's been insane, especially in the U.S. for some reason. The demand has been incredibly high, and anytime Target or Walmart or anybody gets any of these, they sell out faster than a new iPhone.
Oh yeah, it's pretty crazy, but. Nintendo seem to be at least a little bit committed to making sure there's more stock, and like the NES Classic is coming out again next year, so
yeah, no, it's good that they're still doing it, and I hope that they ramp it up. I still feel like it's incredibly supply constrained. I mean, I really wouldn't have one if it weren't for Nate, because it's just not worth it to me to drive by the Target every so often and beg for an SNES. Or call GameStop every day and say, "Are you getting a delivery today?" It's just there's not enough of the hours in the day to do that. I just like to be able to go in somewhere and pay $80 and get it, but it's still really hard to do here.
Yeah, Oh well, at least you got one.
Yeah, so I got it.
You've got your fancy new monitor. You're doing a lot of automation. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun over there.
Oh yeah, I've been busy spending all my money. I've got a 4K LG display for my MacBook Pro. That it looks nice. It's 27 inches. I needed something a little sharper, easier on the eyes since I'm sitting here 24/7 working at it. So it looks nice. It works. It's obviously necessary for the SNES because we know that that's a high resolution gaming console.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not playing on 4K, why even bother?
Yeah, exactly. You need to have that CRT emulation just so.
I think we both just have a problem with buying things.
Yeah, well, in the last few weeks have been particularly bad. There's just been a lot going on and a lot of good deals, and I've been trying to finalize and set up the rest of my setup in the basement for working, and this monitor has made a big difference because I was using an old Dell that I had for when I was working downtown and had it hooked up to a Mac Mini, and it was 1080p, kind of mushy looking, wasn't very good display at all, but it served its purpose for just mostly editing text. But this is a lot better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Was there anything else you wanted to do?
I don't know. The UK has something about sausage rolls going on, don't they? I mean, I saw the New York Times actually ran a story not long before Thanksgiving, and this is probably the most disappointing thing about not having recorded 2 weeks ago, was that we couldn't talk about the baby Jesus sausage roll earlier.
Yeah, well, it has been quite a while since we've recorded. I mean, firstly, a description of Greggs as a bakery is probably a bit of a stretch.
Okay, tell me about Greggs, because I had no idea I figured this was just like some one-off place.
No. Greggs is, I mean, bakery, I suppose, is the word, but I feel like bakery implies that, there's lots of fresh breads and cakes, and it's kind of like a Subway, but instead of sandwiches, they're selling sausage rolls and pies and cakes and stuff, but it's not great. It's not very nice.
And so they decided for a promotion, they'd make a sausage roll, or they did a nativity scene with a sausage roll in the place of the baby Jesus. Is that what they did?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
You know what? That's all I have to say. And I said, you know what? Probably a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind this is part of a like a £30 advent calendar that they had.
Okay.
So you buy the advent calendar, you open each door, and each door is a voucher to get something from Greggs.
Oh, okay.
Each day.
I see.
Yeah, it's very strange, and irrelevant. Whether it's whatever. This is probably just a bad idea.
Well, you just know that you mix sausage rolls with religion, and somebody's going to be upset.
Yeah, I think especially like around Christmas, like maybe don't do parody things like that. It's just very strange. I don't.
Right. I get what they're going for, but I mean, in the U.S. we call these pigs in a blanket, and that's just.
Oh no, pigs in a blanket is something that's different.
All right. No,
pigs in blanket is a sausage wrapped in bacon.
Yes. Well,
this is not that.
Okay. We're having a cultural dispute here. I can feel it coming, and we're going to bring religion into it too. So we probably should.
Oh no, God, no, absolutely not.
So we should layer in a little Brexit at this point, I think. Or maybe we should just end the show.
Let's end the show.
All right. Well, we'll put a link. If anybody wants to read more about the sausage roll baby Jesus, they can read about it. And the New York Times, of all places. And I'm sure Rob can find many, many, many links in the UK press too.
Oh, absolutely. And if you like Greggs and disagree with me that it's bad, I don't care. Don't tweet me.
I'm coming over there. I'm coming over there next summer, and I am going to go to Greggs, and we'll have a show about that.
Oh no. Cool. All right. Well, I'll speak to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.